That was my first breakup. It all started, as the best things do, with a stupid joke. I was 17. My biggest problems were homework and what to wear on Friday. My world was my school, my two best friends, and my dream of getting a car. And then there was Ben. Ben sat behind me in Mr. Clark's history class. History was so boring. All those dates and dead people. One Tuesday, I was so tired. I started to fall asleep. My head was nodding like a chicken. And just as my chin hit my chest, I heard this voice behind me. A whisper. The War of 1812 was fought by sleepy pigeons. I snorted. I tried not to laugh. My shoulders shook. I turned around a little and I saw him.
Ben.
He had this smile. Not a big, movie star smile. A small, secret smile. Like he knew a joke that only the two of us shared. His eyes were very green. I whispered back. I thought it was fought by very serious turtles. He nodded very seriously.
Ah, yes.
The turtles. Everyone forgets the turtles. And that was it. That was the moment. From a joke about sleepy pigeons and serious turtles. After that, we were a thing. Not a big official thing. A thing. You know what I mean? We sat together at lunch. We texted all night until our phones got hot. We held hands under the table in the library. It was easy. It was like finding a song you love and playing it on repeat. He was my first everything. First real date. First time someone brought me flowers. They were daisies from the field near his house, a little bit squashed in his backpack. First time I felt beautiful, not because I wore nice clothes, but because of the way he looked at me. He made me a playlist called Songs That Remind Me of Your Laugh. It was the sweetest thing anyone had ever done for me. I listened to it every night. We talked about the future, but in a silly way. When we are rich and famous, he would say, we will buy a house with a slide instead of stairs. I would say, and we will have a dog the size of a horse. A friendly horse dog, he would agree. It was perfect. Or I thought it was perfect. When you've never had pizza before, the first slice you eat is the best pizza in the world. You don't know yet that there is pepperoni or extra cheese. You just know this cheese and bread is amazing. For 8 months, it was cheese and bread. Amazing. Then, the weather changed. It wasn't one big thing. It was 100 small things. Like a boat that gets a tiny hole. At first, you don't notice. Then there's a little water. Then a little more. And you're so busy sailing. You don't see you're sinking. He got quieter. His texts were shorter. K instead of, okay, my love. He was busy with his soccer team with college applications. I was busy too. But I made time. I felt like I was running after him, holding our connection like a string. And he was walking ahead and the string was getting tight. One Friday, I had a plan. I made a picnic. Nothing big. Just sandwiches and some cookies I baked. They were a little burnt, but it was funny. I texted him. Park after school? I have a surprise. It involves bad cookies. He texted back an hour later.
Can't.
Soccer practice. Then family thing. Saw the sorry felt flat. Like a word on a page. I ate one of the burnt cookies alone in my room. It tasted like ashes. We still had good times. We went to the winter formal. He wore a suit that was a little too big. I wore a blue dress. We danced, and for a song, it was like before. He held me close and said, "You look really nice, Julia." But his eyes looked over my shoulder at the door at his friends. The hole in the boat was getting bigger. The end came on a very normal Wednesday. It was sunny. I remember that. It was stupidly, unfairly sunny. We were at the park, our park, sitting on our bench. He was playing with a leaf, tearing it into little pieces. I was talking about my plan for our 6-month anniversary next week. A fancy dinner at the diner we loved. He didn't say anything for a long time. He just looked at the pieces of the leaf in his hands. "Julia," he said. His voice was quiet. It was the voice he used when he told me his grandpa was sick. My heart, that happy bird in my chest, suddenly stopped flapping. "Yeah, I think we need to talk." For words. 4 of the worst words in the English language. I think we need to talk. They never mean I think we need to talk about what movie to watch. They mean a storm is coming. "Okay," I said. My own voice sounded small. He took a deep breath. It was shaky. I feel like things are different. I feel like I'm changing. And you're not. I mean, you are, but not with me. I stared at him. What does that mean, Ben? I don't understand. And I didn't. It was like he was speaking a different language. It means he looked so sad, so tired. It means I love you, Julia. I really do. But I'm not in love with you anymore. And that's not fair to you. There it was. The step I didn't see. My foot went into empty air. My stomach flew into my throat. I love you, but I'm not in love with you. What does that even mean? Love is love, isn't it? It's like saying this is water, but it's not wet. It made no sense. Tears were hot in my eyes. Is there someone else? I asked. It was the question from every movie. No, he said, and I think he was telling the truth. No one else. It's just me. I feel trapped. I need to figure out who I am. Without us. Without us. So us was a cage. I was the lock. I didn't scream. I didn't throw things. I just sat there on our bench and felt the world crack right down the middle, right between him and me. The crack went through the bench, through the grass, through the sky. So, that's it. I whispered. He couldn't look at me. He nodded. I think it's best. We sat in silence for what felt like years. 2 strangers on a bench in the sun. The pigeon from our first joke walked near us, looking for crumbs. There were no crumbs. We had nothing to give. Finally, he stood up. I'm so sorry, Julia. He said it like he really meant it. And then he walked away. I watched him go. I watched his back, the way his shoulders were hunched. I watched until he turned the corner and disappeared. And then I was alone. The sun was still shining. Kids were laughing on the swings. A dog was barking. The world was going on. And my world had just ended. I sat there until the sun went down. I didn't cry. Not yet. I was too shocked. I was just empty. Like someone had reached inside my chest and taken out all the music, all the light, all the jokes about turtles. They left a cold, quiet space. My phone buzzed in my pocket. For one crazy second, my heart jumped. It was him. He changed his mind. He's coming back. It was a notification from a game. Someone had sent me a virtual life. I put the phone away. I got up from the bench. My legs were stiff. I walked home, one foot in front of the other. Past the diner where we had our first date. Past the street where he kissed me for the first time. Every corner was a memory, and every memory was a little knife. I got to my house. I went to my room. I closed the door. I looked at the dried daisies in a cup on my desk. I looked at the photo of us from the winter formal, smiling, his arms around me. Then I saw the playlist. Songs that remind me of your laugh. I pressed play. The first song started. It was a happy, silly song we both loved. It was about sunshine and good days. And that's when it hit me. That's when the wave came. I fell onto my bed and I cried. I didn't just cry. I sobbed. Big, ugly, loud sobs that came from that cold, empty space in my chest. I cried for the boy who was gone. I cried for the jokes we wouldn't share. I cried for the future that disappeared. The house with the slide, the horse-sized dog. I cried for the us that was now just me. I cried until my head hurt, until my eyes were swollen, until I had no tears left. My phone buzzed again. A text. It was from my best friend, Maya. "Hey, you okay? Ben just told me. I'm so sorry. I'm outside. Let me in."
I didn't want to see anyone.
I wanted to disappear, but I went downstairs and opened the door. Maya didn't say it will be okay. She didn't say he's a jerk. She just walked in, saw my face, and hugged me. She hugged me so tight. And I started crying again, all over her shoulder. She led me to the kitchen, made me the sweetest, worst-tasting tea in the world, and just sat with me. "Tell me everything," she said. And I did. I told her about the bench, about the leaf, about the "I love you, but I'm not in love with you." I told her about the empty feeling. She listened. She nodded. "That," she said, "is the absolute worst." And you know what? It helped. Just a little. Just knowing that someone else knew my world was broken. That night, I slept with the playlist still on. But now, the happy songs felt like lies. The songs about love felt like a joke. My laugh. What laugh? I thought I would never laugh again. The next day was the hardest. Waking up. For one beautiful second, when you first open your eyes, you forget. The world is normal. And then you remember.
Oh, right.
He's gone. The pain was a physical thing. A heavy rock on my chest. I had to go to school. How do you go to school when your heart is in a million pieces in your backpack? I saw him in the hallway. He was at his locker. He saw me. His face, he looked guilty.
And sad.
He gave me a small, sad smile. "I'm sorry for breaking your world" smile. I looked away. I couldn't breathe. I walked to class, and it felt like everyone was looking at me. The girl who got dumped. I could see it in their eyes. "Oh, that's Julia. Ben broke up with her. Poor thing." History class was torture. Sitting at my desk, knowing his desk behind me was empty. He wasn't there. Mr. Clark talked about a war. I didn't care. All wars were inside me now. The days that followed were a blur of gray. I went through the motions. I ate. I slept. I went to school. But I was a ghost. The real me was still on that park bench, staring at the pieces of a leaf. I stopped listening to music. I stopped watching funny videos. Colors seemed less bright. Food had no taste. This, I learned, is what heartbreak is. It's not just sadness. It's like getting a cold in your soul. Everything aches. Nothing brings you joy. I checked his social media 1,000 times a day. Had he posted a new picture? Was he sad? Was he already happy? He posted a photo of the soccer team. They were all smiling. He was smiling. How could he smile? It made me angry. Furious. How could he be fine when I was so broken? Was our love so easy for him to forget? Was I that easy to forget? The anger was better than the sadness. The sadness was an ocean and I was drowning. The anger was a life raft. I could stand on it. I wrote long, angry texts to him. I never sent them, but I wrote them. I called him names in my diary. I was so mad at him for making me feel this way. But at night, the anger would go away, and the sadness would come back. I would lie in bed and remember his smile, the way he said my name, the daisies. I missed him. I missed him so much it was a physical pain, like a toothache in my heart. This is the messy truth of a first breakup. You don't just feel one thing. You feel everything, all at once, and it changes every hour.
Sadness.
Anger. Loneliness.
Hope.
Yes, hope. That stupid, stubborn hope. Maybe he'll call. Maybe he made a mistake. Maybe in a week, he'll show up at my door with new daisies and say, "I was an idiot. I'm still in love with you." But he didn't call. The doorbell didn't ring. The days kept passing. After 2 weeks, my mom finally had enough. She came into my room one Saturday morning. I was in bed, watching the ceiling.
My room was a mess.
My life was a mess. "Julia," she said, sitting on the edge of my bed. "This has to stop." "I can't," I whispered. "It hurts too much." She brushed my hair from my face. Her hand was cool. "I know, honey. I know it does. But you are not a plant. You can't just lie in the dark and wilt. You have to get up." "Why?" I asked. It was a real question. "Because," she said, "you are still here. And the world is still out there. And it has cookies in it that are not burnt." I almost smiled. Almost. "What do I do?" I asked her. I felt like a little kid again. "First," she said, "we clean this room. Then we go get the worst, most sugary ice cream in the city.
And you talk.
Or you don't talk. But you move." So, we cleaned. We picked up the clothes from the floor. We took down the dried, dead daisies and threw them away. That was hard. Throwing away the daisies felt like throwing away a part of myself. My mom held the trash bag open and I dropped them in. They made no sound. Then we went for ice cream. I got a huge bowl of chocolate fudge brownie. We sat by the window. The sun was on my face. I took a bite.
It was so sweet.
For the first time in weeks, I tasted something. "It's good," I said, surprised. My mom smiled.
"See?
The world still has good things." It was a tiny thing, a tiny crack of light in my dark room. But it was something. "It's good," I said, surprised. My mom smiled.
"See?
The world still has good things." It was a tiny thing, a tiny crack of light in my dark room. But it was something. Maya helped too. She made a new rule. No Ben talk for 1 hour a day. For that 1 hour, we had to talk about anything else. Movies. Silly dreams. The weird way our math teacher pronounced parallelogram. It was hard at first. My mind was a broken record, always going back to him. But slowly, I started to remember there were other thoughts in my head. One day, Maya said, "We should do something. Something we've never done before." "Like what?" I asked. I couldn't imagine anything fun. "I don't know. Painting? Hiking? Yoga with goats." "Yoga with what?" She showed me a video online. It was a class where you do yoga and tiny baby goats jump on you. It was the most ridiculous thing I had ever seen. And for the first time in a month, I laughed. A real, true laugh. It sounded strange to my own ears, but it felt good. We didn't do yoga with goats, but we did sign up for a beginner's painting class. It was at the community center. We were terrible at it. My tree looked like a green meatball. Her sky looked like a bruised banana. We got paint all over ourselves and laughed until we cried. But these were different tears. They weren't sad tears. They were release. I was still sad. I still thought about Ben every day. I still checked his social media, but only once a day now, not 1,000 times. But the heavy rock on my chest was a little smaller. I could breathe a little easier. Then the universe decided to test me. Of course it did. It was a Friday night, about 6 weeks after the breakup. Maya and I went to a movie. We walked out of the cinema, talking about the film, and there he was.
Ben.
He was with a group of friends, including a girl I didn't know.
She was pretty.
She had long, shiny hair, and she was laughing at something he said. He was laughing too. My whole body went cold, then hot.
The world slowed down.
It was like a movie scene, but I was in it. He saw me. His laugh died. He looked from me, to Maya, back to me. He looked uncomfortable. The girl with the shiny hair looked at me, then at him. Curious. Maya squeezed my arm. "You okay? Do you want to go?" My first instinct was to run,
To hide. To go home and cry.
but something stopped me. The rock in my chest was still there, but it wasn't as heavy. I had eaten good ice cream. I had painted a terrible tree. I had laughed with my friend. I took a deep breath. I looked right at Ben. I didn't smile. I didn't frown. I just looked, and then I turned to Maya. Yeah, let's go. I want to get pizza. We walked past them. I could feel his eyes on my back, but I didn't look back. My heart was pounding, but it wasn't breaking. It was just beating. In that moment, I realized something huge. I had survived the worst. Seeing him with another girl, or a girl who could be another girl, was supposed to be the final, terrible blow. But it wasn't. It just was. He was a person. I was a person. We were in the same place.
And it was okay.
Not good. Not happy. But okay. Later that night, I did something I hadn't done since the breakup. I opened my music app. I found the playlist. Songs that remind me of your laugh. I looked at it for a long time. Then, I did not press play. Instead, I pressed delete. Are you sure you want to delete this playlist? My finger hovered over the screen. For a second, I saw the bench, the leaf, the sun, his green eyes. I felt the ache, the old familiar ache. But I also felt the sun from the ice cream shop. I heard Maya's laugh in the painting class. I saw my stupid green meatball tree. I pressed yes. It was gone. It didn't feel like a big, dramatic moment. It felt quiet, like closing a book you've read 100 times. You love the story, but you know it by heart. It's time to read a new one. I didn't make a new playlist. Not yet. But I listened to the radio. A new song came on, one I'd never heard before. It was catchy. I tapped my fingers on my desk. Just a little. Time kept moving. Spring came. The snow melted. Flowers came up, not daisies, but yellow ones I didn't know the name of. I didn't get over Ben. That's not how it works. You don't get over a person like they're a wall. You learn to carry the memory of them. You learn to walk with it. The memory gets lighter. And one day, you realize you haven't thought about them for a whole hour. Then a whole afternoon. Then a whole day. You start to notice other things. The way the morning light comes through your window. A really good song on the radio. The smell of rain on hot pavement. You start to remember who you were before you were Julia. I used to love reading mystery novels. I had stopped. I picked one up again. I used to want to learn how to bake bread. I tried. It was a brick, but it was my brick, and it smelled amazing. I was healing. Not because I found a new boy. I didn't. Not because I suddenly had all the answers. I didn't. I was healing because I was living. Minute by minute, hour by hour. One foot in front of the other. One day, near the end of the school year, I was cleaning out my locker. I found an old notebook. In the back, there was a drawing. A silly, stupid drawing Ben had made of us as astronauts on the moon. We were holding hands, and our helmets were smiling. I looked at it, and I felt nothing. No sharp pain.
No sadness.
Just a soft, quiet feeling. Like looking at a photo from a childhood holiday. You remember it was happy, but you can't quite feel the sun on your skin anymore. I smiled. A small, gentle smile. For the boy who gave me daisies. For the girl who believed in a house with a slide. For our love, which was real, even if it didn't last forever. I put the drawing back in the notebook. I closed the locker. And I walked away. I put the drawing back in the notebook. I closed the locker. And I walked away. My first breakup taught me that hearts are stronger than they look. They can break, yes. They can feel like they will never be whole again. But they are also magic. They know how to mend. Not to be new again, but to be strong in the broken places. It taught me that love is not a prison. It's a gift. Even when it ends, it was a gift to have felt it. to have laughed that much,
To have been that happy. And it taught me about me.
that I could be shattered and still get up, that my friends and my family were the glue that held me together when I was in pieces, that I could be alone and be okay. The story doesn't end with me finding a new, better love. It ends with me finding me, a slightly sadder, a little wiser, but stronger me. A me who knows what heartbreak feels like and isn't so afraid of it anymore. Because now I know after the fall, you can learn to walk again. And the world still has ice cream, and sunshine, and the possibility of new jokes, new songs, new memories. The first breakup ever is not the end of your story. It's just the end of a chapter. And my book, well, it's still being written.